Okay, we'll see now. Last lecture we have seen different concept in a function, particularly storage class. We have seen storage class. For storage class, we have discussed. Now we'll see the recursive function. That is also one of the most important part. So first we'll study how that is going to be executed. What is meant by recursive function? And then there are different concepts like unary scope resolution operator, preprocessor. You already know that concept, but actually definition of the some kind of technically it is same. Just you don't know. Other part you already know that unary scope resolution operator we frequently use this kind of unary scope resolution operator and preprocessor. So including this side, it is a part of preprocessor. Or we certainly define certain parameters. And define a PI is equal to 3.40 at the starting of the program. At the starting. So along with the header files, we use this kind of preprocessor. So this is called as a preprocessor, and this is a unary scope resolution operator. So before that, we will see what we mean by recursive function. Just wait a minute. We will see the definition, how it will be going to execute it. So what mean by recursive function? So most important thing in the recursive function is the particular function, whatever the function we are going to define in the particular main body. Suppose this is the main program, and in the main program we define this xyz function, and we create this xyz function. This is xyz function. If that particular function call again the same function, means we have called this particular function here. Again, here we write the same function. Means this function is going to call the cell. Actually, what will happen? Actually, the main body is going to call the function. Main body, generally main body is called the function. It is going to call the function. And what will happen? Control transfer to this to the function body. So actually, function is called by what? Actually, function is called by the main body. Generally, if the function body call the self function, means if the self function again, then what will happen? Suppose if this function body inside that I write the particular function. If I write there the same function, if the function I would write here x, y, z, same function. With the same function, if I call the particular function, what will happen? Again, this function is called by this part. So calling the self function again and again is called as a recursive function. So obviously, whenever this function is called by the self function, it will be unending process. Whenever I write the particular function, the function is going to call again and again. Function is going to call again and again, because whenever this function is called, whenever function is going to call, this function is called to this part. This will be executed. This will be executed. Whenever this function is called, this part will be going to execute it. This part will be going to execute it. And again, what will happen? Again, there will be again function. So again, this function will be called to the cell. So what will happen? Again, this part, whatever the parts line right here, that is going to execute it. But in the particular line, we have written the particular function again. So if you call the particular function again, what will happen? What will happen? Then again, this line is going to execute it. In that particular line, again there will be function. So self function is there. So this function is called itself again and again, again and again. It is not ending process. Obviously, whenever I am going to use this kind of recursive function, there should be end call. There should be a one part there should be there where we should write a certain exit statement. So obviously, whenever this particular function x, y, z we write, and in the function itself, again that part is there. Function has called function has called self. So then what will happen? It will be unending story. It will be the unending story. So we need to write here a certain end part, certain function should be terminated at the certain point. Okay, so that is the most important thing. Function should terminate. So that means exit function is needed at some other point at the suppose the value going to come at that certain value, then we need to write the particular exit function. This is simple thing. We have to write the exit function also, and we have to call the function itself again and again. So calling the function itself again and again is called as a recursive function. This is a simple thing. No more information is needed. This is a simple thing where we call the function again and again. Calling self function. आपल्या फंक्शनला आपणच कॉल करायचं. शक्यतो मेन बॉडी कॉल करते फंक्शनला, इथून ट्रान्सफर इकडे होतो, फंक्शन एक्झिक्यूट होतं, व्हॅल्यू कॅल्क्युलेट होते. व्हॅल्यू जर आपल्याला रिटर्न करायची असेल तर आपण रिटर्न करू शकतो डिपेंडिंग ऑन द सिच्युएशन. If it is not needed, we cannot return the value. That should not means we can write the return property. Okay, we can return the value. If it is not needed, we don't write that particular return value. So this is the normal procedure. If I write the particular function body, in the function body itself, again I call the same function. What will happen? The function is going to call this part. Again, this part is going to be executed. Again, this part is going to means that again that particular function is going to call this. Again, that particular few lines in the particular function is going to execute it. Why executing this line? Again, there is a function, calling function. So there is an unending story. So calling the self function is called as a recursive function. Okay, so this is the part where we need to write exit part also, so that the function should end some other point. Function should end at the some other point. Now we'll write the particular program. I think we have written one program on the factorial of a number. So we have to write our program, a factorial of a number using recursive function. Can you write? Can you think on the particular part how you can write the particular recursive function part? How you can write the factorial? Have you got this? Okay, so simple thing is there. Only calling the self function, that is called as a recursive. Okay. Now we'll write a different program based on this particular recursive one. Most important program is, or the simplest program, I think it could be the part of calculation of the factorial number. Calculation of factorial number. So factorial. So take 1 or 2 minutes. If you think like that, what you are thinking, then write on a few lines regarding this. Write the algorithm. I want to see how you are going to thinking, or I will need to give you certain time so that you should think on. So think on this and write something that how you can execute the self function. Think a few minutes. 1 or 2 minutes are sufficient. You think 1 or 2 minutes, that will be sufficient. Think 1 or 2 minutes and try to write a certain algorithm. Try to write a certain information regarding the calling the self function. How are you going to write? You have to need to calculate a factorial of a n number. Suppose we need to calculate a factorial of a n number. Okay, किती जण काय करतात? Factorial of n number. Using recursive function, not simple function. we will write the program. See whether you can write this particular program or not. So first part, we have to write the main body. So first part is we have to write the main body. Particular different data files we have to write void main. Then different function. Particularly if it is a obviously it is a factorial number we need to calculate. A factorial number always after 5, 6 number or 7, 8 number, it is more than 32,000. That means range is not sufficient. Integer range is not sufficient, and obviously we have to use integer because that number is whole number. So we can use a long integer. Different variables if comes, I can write n. We need to calculate the factorial of n number. So first statement would be the cout, enter the number for calculation of a factorial number. Inverted comma complete, give semicolon. Cin n. Then we have to write a for loop. So basically for loop is going to continue for I is equal to 1 to I less than equal to it is n. Okay, I plus plus. So inside that we have to write the statement for the calling of function. So I can write the statement cout where I can directly display the value of suppose I can write p as a variable where I have to call the function. So I can call the function fact I. So if this fact I is called, I expect whatever the factor value is there, it will be calculated and transferred to that particular p function. Right here get ch. So obviously we need to write a display cout p also. So function is called for n time. We have called this particular function and function have called n time. So we need to write here function body. So how we have to write a function body? So we have called the function called fact fact. So also write a long integer. This is a calling of function. Here also we have taken. Then we have to write a function called long integer of fact. Obviously we have to use, instead of this I need to use some other variable. So I can use, it could be m. And here what we have to do is we have to write the particular function property m into again fact m minus 1. So this is the most important part. Consider as some other variable p also and long integer p and return p. I have written this part. This is the most important line where I have written m into fact m minus 1. So some other variable is there. Again m minus 1 is called this particular property. Again m will be there. Again what will happen? M into m minus 1. So that would be m minus 1 will be coming here. M minus 1 into fact m minus 2. I can expand this particular function this as a here. When this m value comes, when I value calculated, I value comes here as a m. So what will happen for this I value? For this I value, it is a we have called this particular function. So we have used for factorial of 1 to n numbers, not only single numbers. Here I have written a for loop. We don't need this particular for loop if we need only one single factorial value calculation, single factorial value calculation. If we need a series of 1 to n, a factorial number of particular numbers, then we need this particular for loop. Like that, whatever the n factorial. So in this table is we need to use this kind of a for loop. But for single one value, how it will be written? For two value, how this value will be calculated? How for this three value, how the six value will be calculated? That will be a part here. Long integer t into m minus 1. So m. So what happened? I value comes here. I value is now assigned to m. So m would be m into fact m minus 1. Again, fact m minus 1 means what? This function has called this function. Again, this is a function. This is a function, and this has called again that particular function. This function has called here. This function has called here, and this particular function has called self. This again I have written fact into simple bracket n minus 1. Obviously, this is a dummy variable, actual variable. It is transferred to dummy variable. So again, this fact m minus 1 called this part. Again, this line will be executed. What will be that? M into m minus 1. M will be what now? M minus 1 into fact m minus 2. Again, m minus 2 comes now here. Again, m minus 2 means again this function has called this. So for this m minus 2, again that it has called. So it will be m into m minus 1 into m minus 3 into fact m minus 3. So this will going to come m into m minus 1 into m minus 2 into up to 2 up to 1. So last value will be 1. So whenever this function is going to call, the 1 minus will be there into that particular function. So each time the minus next decreasing value comes, at last it will come 1 and it will be stopped. Before that, it will calculate entire calculation. So I have said this should be written at some other point. So we need to write this particular function in the certain condition. In a certain condition. So what will be the condition? That if that particular m value is less than 1, return 1. If m is less than 1, we need to return 1. Have you got this? There should be a single condition where m value should be less than 1. Then we should have written 1 value. M value is less than 1. I can write the entire part again. We need to write the stop condition also. If m less than 1 or less than or equal to 1, return 1. Else what would be that? M into, I can directly use return statement. Return m into fact m minus 1. Return m into return, what will be that? Return m into fact m minus 1. Fact m minus 1. This is the function. So here function is called itself. Think for 5 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, and write this particular program. How it is going to execute. See how it is going to execute. Even if you don't use a for loop, it will be sufficient. Anything you want to discuss? Anything you want to discuss with me? Voice is not clear. Clear nahi आवाज? I think voice is loud and clear. Sir, please explain with taking m as a number. M as number means m is a dummy variable. It is a I value. Sir, please explain with taking m as a number. Where we have to take a m? For example, I is equal to 5. Okay. We have taken I is equal to 5. Forget about this part, this particular part. I can rather suppose I enter here 5. I enter n as a 5. And I have to write the call the function. Directly I will write a CO statement. Factorial of a n is n. This has function as called. Suppose Omkar has said if I this taken as a value as a 5, what will happen? Only 5 value we need to calculate. So this is a function we have called. Directly I am taking in the particular cout statement. Cout statement मध्ये डायरेक्टली येईल. आता हे काय केलेलं आहे सपोज 5 व्हॅल्यू घेतली. ही 5 व्हॅल्यू इथे आहे. म्हणजे काय म्हणला आपण एंटर 5 केलेलं आहे इथं. एंटर द नंबर फॉर कॅल्क्युलेशन फॅक्टर नंबर इथे आपला आपण n5 चा. म्हणजे इथे ऍक्च्युअली काय असेल फॅक्ट 5. Fact 5 will be there. Now here the function would be like that. N value is assigned to m. So m would be 5. M would be the 5. Is m less than 1, less than equal to 1, return 1. Okay. So that is the issue. If you have to m is equal to, sorry, it should be less than it is equal to 1, then we have to return 1. Or it could be even if it is we have write less than 1, it will be okay. Because here less than 1 it will not come, because when 1 is equal to 1, n is equal to 1, obviously it will be returned and we have calculated. So here now next part is, so what will happen? M is less than 1, that I value is less than 1, no. So that this part will not execute, this part will not execute. Else return m into fact m minus 1. So this is the important part. So what will happen now? Return m म्हणजे 5 fact 4. Return fact 5 into fact 4. What is fact 4? Fact simple bracket 4. Again this has called the function. This has called the function. So again this will be going to call the function. Now m value is going to come 4. So 4 is 4 less than 1. No. So else return m into fact m minus 1. Now m value is 4. So now what is going to happen in this part? So fact 4 is what? It will be 4 into fact 3. This value will be what? Whenever this value is going to come 4 fact 3. So when this value is going to come, add this particular previous part. 4 into fact 3. Again what will be fact 3? Again it will be 3 into fact 2. That means this function is called again that particular function. Again what will happen? Fact 2 means it will be 2 into fact 1. 2 into fact 1. 1 is called. Again what will happen? Fact 1 means m value is now come 1. Return 1. Whenever the 1 value comes, we have to return 1. So by default, this calculation is going to paste 5 into fact 4. 4 means this value is going to come replaced by this part. This value is replaced by this part. This value is going to replace by this part. This value is going to replace by this. So entire 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So So obviously, whatever the last return value will be there, that would be the 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So the function is called itself. So by doing this, we have calculated the value. So this is a factorial number. Have you got this? Only Omkar is asking the question. What about the other peoples? You are coming for sleep or what? You are just coming lecture and you are not properly listening. Nobody is asking the question. Only apart from one student, nobody is asking the question. Have you got this, Omkar? And other peoples also. अरे काय प्रश्न विचारतो त्याचं तर उत्तर द्या. फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला कशाची गरज आहे? आपण त्या फंक्शनला कॉल केल्यामुळे एक एक व्हॅल्यू रिड्यूस होत जाते ना. ज्याला प्रश्न विचारलाय त्याला काय आलेला नाही, बाकीच्या सगळ्यांना काय आलं. विशेष आहे मला वाटतं. सर बट फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला कुठला फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला? फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला म्हणजे कुठला? ओंकार फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला म्हणजे कुठला? इथे आपल्याला फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला आपोआप तयार करायचा ना. हा फॉर्म्युला, हाच फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला आहे. त्यामधनच हे आपण एक्सपांड असं झालं. आणि तेच म्हणजे हे कॅल्क्युलेशन. हाच फॅक्टोरियल फॉर्म्युला आहे. फंक्शन कॉलिंग सेल्फ. In that we have written m into fact m minus 1. That means again m fact m minus 1 will call m minus 1 into fact m minus 2. Again m minus 2 into m minus 3. So by doing this, entire value will be called. Entire value will be calculated. अरे काल नसेल तर काय असा प्रॉब्लेम नाहीये. विचारा प्रश्न काय. That doesn't mean need to ask question frequently. This is a very interesting topic, function, C++ programming. Okay, few people are saying yes, they have understood. अजून एक प्रोग्राम घ्या. राइट अ प्रोग्राम टू जनरेट फिबोनाची सीरीज युजिंग फंक्शन. येते का बघा. फिबोनाची सीरीज. फंक्शन न शिकलेलं आहे आता. प्रोग्राम लिहायचा प्रयत्न करा. फिबोनाची नंबर कुठलाही एक नंबर एंटर करायचा आहे, त्याचा फिबोनाची नंबर फिबोनाची सीरीज कॅल्क्युलेट करायची. 5 केलं तर काय होईल, किंवा कुठलेही सुरुवातीचे 2 इंटिजर नंबर देऊ शकता, किंवा किती नंबर्स पाहिजेत आपल्याला ते द्या. पहिला किती नंबर्स पाहिजे, जेवढे नंबर्स असतील त्यानुसार तुम्ही फिबोनाची नंबर कॅल्क्युलेट करू शकता. Can you calculate this? Can you write? Definitely you need to write. Just for asking purpose I ask whether you can write. Yes, you have to write. So how you can write that particular Fibonacci series function? Using a recursive function. I need to calculate, you need to calculate using the recursive part. एकशे ते शेवटी येत आहे रे. 44 अटेंडन्स दिसतोय मला आता सध्या. का उपयोग आहे? तुम्ही जरा वाचलं नसेल, अंडरस्टँड केलं नसेल.